Welcome to the Black Sparrow Media Internet Broadcast Network.
You are listening to Linux in the Ham Shack. LHS is a podcast about Linux, open source, and amateur radio for everyone. Now here are your hosts, Russ, K52UX, Cheryl, W5MOO, and Bill, NE4RD.
Well, hello everybody and welcome. You have tuned in to episode number 385 of Linux in the Ham Shack, the most terrific amateur radio podcast on the internet, and this is the first episode back of 2021. And of course, we couldn't start anywhere else but with the Weekender. Yeah, it's a brand new year, and let's end the week. So, what we talk about on the Weekender is upcoming contests and upcoming special events in amateur radio, upcoming events and things to do and things to enjoy in the open source world. And then we dive into hedonism, where we talk about food and music and booze and all the things that make life worth living. So let's go ahead and dive into that. I'm Russ, K5TUX.
I'm Cheryl, W5MOO.
And I'm Bill, NE4RD.
So thanks everybody for waiting for us to come back from our little break that we usually take a little bit before Christmas through the first week of January. But now that we are back, let's go ahead and get right into it. And Bill starts us off with the amateur radio contest calendar.
That's right. And of course, we get all these contests from contestcalendar.com, the best contestcalendar.com in the world.
The best and only.
Yes, contest calendar. So yeah, we have the North American QSO Party coming up this weekend, and this is the CW variant. It runs from 1800 Zulu January 9th to 0559 Zulu January 10th, although I believe the rules actually say 0600 Zulu, but we'll just take whatever they have there in there. And of course, the bands are 160 through 10, no work. And this is the fun one. It's a 12-hour window, I believe, there, if I can do my math properly. And you can work 10 of those as a single op station with a 30-minute break minimum if you take a break. And yeah, you can also form teams. So you may wish to form a team with your fellow NAQP participants. If so, your team must consist of 2 to 5 single operator stations whose individual scores are combined to produce a team score. Although clubs or other groups have been having more than 5 members may form multiple teams, there are no distance or meeting requirements for a team entry. Teams must be registered prior to the start of the contest. So yeah, this is a fun one to kind of mess around with. The max power is 100 watts. I mean, technically you can run more than 100 watts, but I believe you become a check log at that point. So there's no advantage to running full power. You can just run barefoot right out of your normal rig. Next weekend, we have the single sideband version of that same contest. And, let's see, it's parallel with the, North American Collegiate competition. They run those in parallel, same contest, same exchange. And that will run from 1800 Zulu January 16th to 0559 Zulu January 17th. 160 through 10, no work, single sideband. So you can pull out your microphone, you know. Some of you probably have only done FT8 lately, so it's time to plug that microphone back in. It's that little thing with the little squeezy button on it, and it's probably got a little coily cord and stuff like that. Looks really flexible, and you hold it up to your mouth and you talk into it. So there you go. And again, you can do a team competition with this. So if you're interested, form teams. It's actually kind of a fun thing. You know, your clubs also kind of already get compiled because you put in your club entry information in your contest log and your Cabrillo file when you submit it to them. But the team entry, you have to be registered on the website, and they have separate registration URLs for both, for the CW contest, the sideband contest, and the RIDI contest. So get in there, form some teams, have some fun. It's just kind of like a little side competition. Also next weekend we have the ARRL January VHF contest. And that one runs from 1900 Zulu January 16th to 0359 Zulu January 18th. And this is 6 meters and up. So everybody gets on this contest that wants to play around in, some good VHF land. Modes here are any. And what they say is all legal modes are permitted, while CW and single sideband phone are the most common. MSK 144, FT8, FM only are gaining popularity. Other popular modes include PSK 31, FSK 441, and JT 65. For Cabrillo file mode definitions, digital modes should be represented as DG, Delta Golf, for all things digital, or PH, Papa Hotel, or Romeo Yankee can also be used as digital modes, are transmitted via phone audio. Stations in the KH0 through 9, KL7, and KP1 through KP5, Charlie Yankee 9 and Charlie Yankee 0 count as North American stations and can be worked by DX stations for contest credit. So this is a good one. Rovers get out there and everything else. So, and we heard this from Don, KB2YSI, that if you're running FTA only, and you're not getting people to come back to you, there are people that are not running FT8 and are running single sideband. So make sure that while you're sitting there hitting transmit, on your WSJTX during the contest, you also give an opportunity to scroll back down the band and, send CW or CQ or CQ contest on the sideband side and possibly on the CW if you can do that. Otherwise, at least get on the phone. So those operators that are operating with phone only stations can also work you. So don't rely totally on digital mode unless that's all you're running. There's plenty of opportunity to work other stations out there in non-digital land. Now, the one thing I didn't mention is the state QSO Party challenge, because we don't start that until February with the Vermont QSO Party. So we'll talk about that on the next episode. They have a new challenge that they've introduced, and that's kind of interesting. So be on the lookout for that in the next episode. And I believe that's it for contests.
Are you sure?
I'm sure enough.
Sure enough. All right. Very good. Then I guess we'll dive into some special events in the world of amateur radio. The first one I have listed here is the 120th anniversary of the Lucas Gusher. This will be operating from January 9th at 0900 Zulu to January 10th at 1500 Zulu. The call sign is Kilo 5 Sierra. The frequencies will be on or about 7.025, 7.250, 14.025, and 14.250. And it's a celebration of the discovery of oil in Texas. And you can look them up on QRZ for certificate instructions if you work this station. And a link to more information will, of course, be in the show notes. So check that out if you want to contact some folks down in Texas. We also have the Alaska RST QSO Party. This will be operating the whole month between January 15th and February 15th at various times. Call signs, primary call sign is Kilo Lima 7 Romeo Sierra Tango. Other call signs involved are VY1 RST stroke KL7, VE8 RST stroke KL7, and VY0 RST stroke KL7. And this is just to contact that particular station in Alaska by whatever means necessary, apparently. You can get a certificate by email for working any of the three above stations when you QSL. If you're a member of the Century Club nets, the QSLs can be done via CCN Bureau or SASE. Anybody else needs an SASE. And make sure to look for KL7 RST online from several different Alaska locations during that month of operation. So if you've ever wanted to contact Alaska, and a lot of people do, go ahead and check that out. We also have the 2021 Daytona 500 and Speedweeks commemoration. This will be operating from January 9th through February 14th. So lots of opportunities there. Call sign is November 4 Delta Alpha Bravo. Frequencies will be on or about 7.07, 7.255, 14.07, and 14.255. Go ahead and see the webpage that will be in the show notes for QSL and certificate information. There's a high-quality laser-printed certificate and photo-quality QSL card available. Operating hours dependent on propagation and availability. Phone, CW, and digital modes will be scheduled. So lots of opportunities to contact them. And then finally, we have the California Discovery of Gold, the Gold Rush. And this will be January 23rd from 1700 through January 25th at Hot Zulu. And the call sign for this is kind of cool, AG6AU. So that would be what? Gold 6 or silver/gold? Silver 6 gold?
Gold, yeah.
Silver 6 gold. AG6AU. The frequencies will be on or about 7.248, 14.248, and 21.348. Wow, they're going to be operating 15 meters. Cool, I love it. 15 meters, my band. This is a special event station commemorating the discovery of gold and the gold rush. QSL will be available. Check the website and call sign. Look up for additional information. And a link to more information, of course, will be in the show notes. So those are all I had. And the contest, or the special event station thing at the ARRL is actually kind of sparse right now. So I'm surprised I found that many. But there's a few others out there if you want to check it out. So that moves us into announcements. And I didn't really have any announcements other than to say we're back. But if you're listening to this, you knew that. And we're still waiting to hear from Hamvention to see if Hamvention is going to be a thing. There has been some indication from Dara that they are planning to make an announcement one way or the other in the next month or two. But, of course, we're just going to have to wait it out. COVID is still wreaking havoc around the world. And apparently lots of places, including the UK and Denmark, I know for sure, have already shut down again due to alternate strains of the virus breaking out. And, this is quite the nightmare we've got going. But we're still hopeful for Hamvention and for all the other events and, things that happen in the world. We're finding a way to make things work, but, of course, it's still a challenge. So it is what it is. You got anything you want to announce, need to announce? We will have the QSO Ham Radio Expo announcement on the next show. So stay tuned for that. That'll be coming up here pretty quick, but not like super urgent. So just listen to the next show for that.
Not huge. I did get one announcement from I have no idea, a section manager or something like that over in Washington. They were looking at the club listing over on the ARRL site. I don't know if you've ever checked into that for the
I have not.
Yeah, the registered clubs or affiliated clubs with the ARRL are all listed there. They don't have the ability to have the club listed in more than one section. So clubs like, I don't know, the Open Source Amateur Radio Club, right? AF0SS would be available to anyone, anywhere.
That's right.
But it would only be located wherever the trustee license holder is. So it would only be in Missouri section. So you couldn't find that club specifically if you were looking for clubs available to your section. As well, they contacted me about the K2BSA. So they're going to bring it up into the agenda for the January meeting of the directors. So I hear there's some rumblings anyway that the ARRL site is looking for another update. We know it got updated, 4 years ago or something like that. They went through the major redesign that took forever. So they're talking about it again. They're talking about upgrading the club section there so it can be more useful for people looking to find clubs that might cross sectional boundaries and stuff like that. So hopefully that'll come to fruition. That's kind of an interesting thing. I saw Dan, or maybe it was a Dan KB6NU that wrote about the meeting information looking kind of sparse for the the directors meeting in January. It was either him or somebody else. I'm not going to say it was Dan, but Dan, I'm just going to throw you under the bus because I can remember you. But yeah, so hopefully that makes it onto their sparse agenda. And that's kind of one of the items that they look at fixing this year, since they probably don't have much else that they can do except for continue to promote activity. So,
all right, fair enough. Well, that would actually be handy for us since we have a sort of club that really has no boundaries, so to speak. So I don't even know if our club is listed as an ARRL sponsored club in Missouri. It should be, because all of the all of the officers are ARRL members. So
Yeah, you have to make sure you sign up for that, though.
well, I'm sure I haven't done that, so I guess I need to put that on my list.
Submit a report, because I think 50% or something. I don't know. Some percentage has to be ARRL members.
Right. Well, I mean, I think we're closer to 100% right now.
Yeah, probably. I'm a life member, so you can always throw me on your list if I'm not already there.
You're already there.
Yeah. So.
All right. So with that, we'll move on. We have our Linux in the Ham Shack Ham Radio Challenge for the new year. And I put in here, check out these summits on the air website and work a SOTA activation. Those kind of things happen all the time. And we happened to be talking about it amongst ourselves here a day or two ago. And there might be some, some members of, our Linux in the Ham Shack listening audience who might be activating some summits here in the near future. So
that's not me. It's the wrong time of year to be in the mountains here.
But check out for that. There'll of course be more information forthcoming if that becomes a real thing. But in any case, just look at SOTA and work some SOTA sites, because people do actually put sometimes a considerable amount of effort to activating some of those peaks. So check that out. And with that, we'll go ahead and move into this weekend in open source. And Bill's going to tell us about a distribution we used to talk about a lot. We don't talk about it quite as much anymore, but it's still around and still pretty popular. So what is it?
That's still minty. It's LinuxMint 20.1. So LinuxMint 20.1 will receive security updates until 2025, as they are both based on Ubuntu 20.04 LTS. However, it will become with the desktop improvements and new apps developed by the LinuxMint project. So this is the general release is coming out. It's not quite out yet as we record this, but it is on some of the mirrors, including kernel.org, which I have linked in our show notes here. So it's the latest revision of LinuxMint. If you've tried the beta, you'll be able to upgrade in the app itself, so you don't have to reinstall or anything else like that. So you should be able to go in your little software center or do an upgrade or update, whatever. It should take care of you. But it comes with some new cool stuff. Some of the new apps that will be included are web apps that will let you turn your favorite sites into web apps. So be able to have like a launcher button. You take a website and just save it to your desktop, and then it opens up as an app, kind of like a progressive web app, I'm thinking. They also have an IPTV program that's called Hypnotics. That'll come preloaded with several freely available channels. Like if we can't get enough content, you'll be able to get some more. And for the Chromium fans, they have started to compile their own version of Chromium that does not rely on the Ubuntu's snap packaging software. So for all of you that don't like snaps, there you go. So I have snaps and flat packs on my Fedora system, so I don't really care. But yeah, it's out on the mirrors. I think once it's fully out to every mirror, there will be an official announcement that it's released on their website. So be looking for that, since you're going to probably get this before that happens. But you can for sure go to kernel.org and check out the mirror there and pull down the ISOs right away for, I believe they have Mate, XFCE, Cinnamon, and I think that's it. I'm going to click the button because I'm drawing a blank if there's another one. XFCE, Mate, and Cinnamon. Yeah. So, there's Cinnamon and Cinnamon Edge. So I'm not quite sure what the Edge is. I can't remember specifically. What is Edge? The Edge ISO is not recommended, so don't do that. That ships with the 5.8 kernel, according to their notes here. The other one comes with a 5.4 kernel. So, yeah, they're all 64-bit. So if you're a Linux Mint user operating, machine prior to a Core 2 Duo, yeah, pass. Hard pass. Otherwise, if you got a newer machine, something at least in the last decade, you should be able to run 64-bit, and these images should all work for you. And considering they're Cinnamon, Mate, and XFCE, they're all lightweight desktops, so it should run fine. You can pick either one, whatever you like the looks of. So there you go.
Yeah, well, my main workstation just rolled out of the last decade, so it's. Yeah, I just found out that the drivers that NVIDIA for my NVIDIA card also are not supported past kernel 5.4.
Time to take it out back and shoot it.
Yeah, I'm well aware of that. Anyway, so very cool. Let's talk about the upcoming open source events, and this is where we bring Cheryl in to tell us about what's coming up there. And I heard the little pop, so she's ready to go.
Of course I'm ready to go. So our first event is the Linux Foundation's Mentorship Series, Open Source Licensing. It's on January 13th, 2021. There is no charge for it. It's, of course, online. And the little blurb about it says, join us for open source licensing with Steve Winslow, Director of Strategic Programs at the Linux Foundation. Open source licenses are the engine that enables collaboration across boundaries and among community participants on transparent terms. In this webinar, Steve will review the role that licenses play in open source development and will describe best practices for managing and expressing license information in open source code. The session will begin with an overview by Steve and will be followed by Q&A, an opportunity to both ask questions and for group discussions. More information is in the show notes. The next one is the Emerging Tech Fest. It is January 26th through the 28th, 2021, online, based out of Wales, UK. The cost is free. During this event, there will be endless opportunities to allow your business to continue being resilient. Listen and engage with a huge range of keynote and panel sessions from influential thought leaders and innovators. Gain insights into leading-edge technology, network with industry's most important decision makers, and be inspired by the visionaries who are using emerging technology to make positive advancements across multiple sectors. This conference aims to leave you feeling inspired and full of knowledge on the opportunities available for your business using emerging technology. There's a wealth of support available in multiple communities working together, unlocking the power of emerging technology. Join us to find out how your business can achieve the same. More information in the show notes. And our last one is the EU Open Source Policy Summit. It's February 5th, 2021. It's online. It is free. The EU Open Source Policy Summit 2021 aims to build bridges and encourage exchanges between the vast open source community and European policymakers. At this virtual event, we will hear representatives from many stakeholders working at the intersection of politics and technology. We look forward to convening this conversation at the critical juncture as discussions of open source move into deeper understanding of the strategic role open source software and hardware will play in Europe's digital future. Again, more information in the show notes.
Yeah, so the LHS Open Source Challenge this fortnight is to play Fortnite. No, just kidding. Try running Ubuntu or another supported a full distribution on a Raspberry Pi. Like you could even run Fedora on there or other single board computer. So time to break out the full desktop on your single board computer and see how much you can run before it keels over and goes thermal. So, and that takes us to our favorite part. And this is a way to start the year, our hedonism segment. And we always start by stuffing our face with yummy goodness out of Cheryl's kitchen. So, Cheryl, take it away.
It has been a very, very, very long time since I've had this. And, my grandmother always made it. It was like a birthday cake thing. But, I decided because Valentine's Day is coming up. I'm not a huge fan of chocolate cake, but this cake was a favorite of my childhood. And it is Coca-Cola fudge cake. It needs butter, vegetable oil, Coca-Cola, white sugar, flour, eggs, cocoa powder, baking soda, buttermilk, and vanilla. And for the frosting, you need powdered sugar, softened butter, Coca-Cola, cocoa powder, chocolate syrup, and vanilla. And so it's a super easy cake to bake, super rich, and so good. So I'll have to make this one day and see if I can get Russ to eat it, because he's just not a chocolate. But he might eat this.
It kind of depends. I mean, sometimes I'm in the mood for chocolate cake, and sometimes I'm not. It just,
Yeah, well, and that's kind of my thing too. I'm kind of picky about my chocolate cake, so. But
if you can make it into cupcakes, we could probably make that work.
Of course, you can make it into cupcakes.
Well, see, there you go. Cupcakes are little cakes, and I like little cakes.
And then for my mixed drink corner to go with your chocolate cake, how about a strawberry mimosa? And the ingredients for that is strawberry sugar, and champagne. You blend all of this together in the food processor, pour it into champagne flutes, top with a little splash of champagne, garnish with a strawberry, and it's great.
That sounds good to me. Chocolate and strawberries definitely tend to go well together.
Yes.
And we're not going to talk about it on this particular episode, but if you're wondering why Cheryl sounds a little weird this time around, tune into the next episode where you will receive the entire story. And if you don't want to wait that long, check Facebook because the story's there as well. Through someone.
Well, I know I've posted about it. Have you posted about it?
Well, I was talking about you. No, I haven't posted about it.
Okay.
I mean,
Well,
people know where to find you.
Well, yeah. Yeah, because as Bill says, I'm all over the face bags. So.
All the time.
Punch in the face bag every
else to
single
do.
day. Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. So moving on, is now that I can talk again, we're going to talk about my drink corner for tonight, and it's something that, as we discussed in the the little bit of time before the show, I'm not sure why I haven't done this one yet. I'm going to talk about it tonight. It is Eagle Rare 10, the 10-year version of Eagle Rare Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. The description on this, kindly provided to us by Sazerac, is Eagle Rare Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey is masterfully crafted and carefully aged for no less than 10 years. The rareness of this great breed of bourbon is evident in its complex aroma as well as the smooth and lingering taste. Eagle Rare is a bourbon that lives up to its name with its lofty, distinctive taste experience. So now that we're through all the marketing BS, we can talk about what it actually is. The reason I put this off is because it's one of those Buffalo Trace. It's a BTAC. It's an allocated bourbon, so it's not necessarily readily available, but that can be dependent on where you live because it's really, really hard for me to find, and it's on the shelf all the time where Bill is. So,
well, they did run out this year, so it's still allocated.
Right. But yeah, I mean, it's easier to find in some places than others. I mean, that's clear. But if you can find it, it runs about $30 to $35. So it's certainly an approachable price for this particular 10-year age bourbon, or at least 10-year age bourbon. It contains Buffalo Trace mash bill number 1. They are very cagey about their mash bills, so we don't really know what's in it, but it is less than 10% rye. So this does tend more towards the sweeter notes. It's bottled at 45% alcohol or 90 proof. Comes out of the, of course, Buffalo Trace Distillery, which is in Frankfort, Kentucky. The color on it is medium amber or medium to dark amber, as it should be since it's been sitting in a barrel for at least 10 years. One thing I will say for it is that the nose is far more complex and interesting than the taste. It doesn't mean the taste is bad. It just means there's a lot more to get through your nasal passages than through your pie hole. So on the nose, I get chocolate and hints of orange peel, which I would in some cases even put together as like a chocolate orange. If you've ever had a chocolate orange, you kind of know what I'm thinking. There's also some herbal notes, honey, vanilla, butterscotch, leather, and of course oak. You're going to get some oak char because, as I've said, it's been in a barrel for at least 10 years. The taste on it is good, certainly acceptable, but not nearly as complex or interesting as the nose. The oakiness and the barrel spice comes off more heavily. You get a sweet cream note, some toffee, cherry, candied almond, and a little bit of chocolate or cocoa. So, dried chocolate. It's all in there. It's really good. I mean, it's definitely on the sweet side. And let me just make sure I haven't missed anything by taking another sip. No, I think that's got it. And the finish, of course, is a good medium long. There's a nice ABV here with a nice barrel age, so that taste is going to linger with you. And you're going to get some of that vanilla sweetness, not necessarily vanilla specifically, not like vanilla bean, but sort of a sweet cream sweetness. Some chocolate-covered cherry, a little dune grass, and the final thing that leaves your tongue is that oak, like barrel stave. So it's very good. I mean, the nose is absolutely incredible. If the taste was anywhere as good as the nose, this would be rated much higher. But it's a very good bourbon for what it is. If you can find it, you should definitely get some. if you can find it with any kind of regularity, you should definitely keep it on hand. For the price point, the 35 to, maybe 30 or even 40, depending on the part of the country you're in. Well worth it. I'm going to give it an easy 92. Yeah, it's good. If you can find it, get it. There you go.
Yummy.
Eagle Rare 10-year Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Check it out and buy it if you can find it. All right, Bill, what do you got?
Me? Nothing.
Nothing.
I was trying a new, I ran out of them though earlier because we were taking too long to start the podcast. A new IPA that, I was going to go at the can anyway, but it's from Belgium Brewing, I guess. It's Voodoo. The Voodoo, I don't know. Do you know what that one is? Voodoo Ranger brand, Voodoo Ranger. Let's see. I'm going to try to look it up real quick here. So it is, as they have a hazy imperial IPA, and I just got it the other day. So I'm trying to find the beer so I can say the right one. It's in a red can. Oh my Lord. All beer. Let me find it. Yes, I'm still 21. God, they're so terrible about this stuff. There it is. The Voodoo Ranger Higher Plane Hazy Imperial IPA. So if that's not enough noise, is really good. It does have a IBU of 45.
Well, that's not terrible. 45.
Well, it's citrusy. So it's going to be one of the more citrusy, hoppy, IPAs. So anytime you get into a hazy IPA, it's going to kind of taste sort of like grapefruit juice, which I happen to like. It has an ABV of 8.5 because, of course it's Imperial. So it must be special. And it's available here. So, I picked up a 6-pack to try it out, and, I rapidly finished the 6-pack, and, it's really good. So, I'm closing out the evening here with a little puff on the, old pipe, and, cause I ran out of cigars too. And I got some Kraken in with some Diet Pepsi. So, a little bit of rum and Coke to, finish the episode evening.
All right, very good. Well, I'm going to be finishing out the episode with the last of my dram of Eagle Rare and then probably pouring myself another one. So, but that brings us down to the end of the show. So we want to thank everybody for tuning in again after our long winter's nap. And we're glad that you're still here with us. And of course, our short topics episode will be next, and then we'll have a deep dive after that. Nothing really has changed. We're doing it the same way as we always do. We just try and keep it entertaining as much as we possibly can. And we want to thank everybody who supports the show and everybody who listens. And we'll try and keep you all updated with the world of amateur radio and open source and all the things that are coming up and what's going on with us and the Open Source Amateur Radio Club and everything that's going on, because it's a mad, busy world. But it is what it is. And we want to thank the folks who are with us in the chat room tonight. The folks that we recognize in there were Don, KC9ZMY, and I think Mike was in here too, K6GTE. So I probably want to add him to the list. And our oldest friend, Ted, WA0EIR, who still hasn't given me a souvenir baseball. But, maybe one of these days. Anyway, thanks everybody for listening. We hope you have a great weekend and a great upcoming fortnight, and try out some of these things and check out the special events and all the stuff that's going on. And if nothing else, make some Coca-Cola chocolate cake and have some Eagle Rare and just enjoy life for a while. And with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up episode number 385 of Linux in the Ham Shack. I'm Russ, K5TUX.
I'm Cheryl, W5MOO.
And I'm Bill, NE4RD 73.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Linux in the Ham Shack. LHS is a community-sponsored podcast. The live show is recorded every Monday night at 8 p.m. Central Time, plus or minus QRL. Connect to the live stream at url.bcts.info/LHS Live. Our website is located at lhspodcast.info. You can support the podcast by visiting the LHS Patreon page at patreon.com/LHSpodcast or by using the contribute link on the homepage. Get in touch via social media. We have a presence on Discord, Facebook, IRC, Twitter and YouTube. Our IRC channel is #LHS Podcast on the Freenode network, and the Discord invite link is url.bcts.info/Discord. You can also drop us an email at info@lhspodcast.info or leave us a voicemail at 1-909-LHS-SHOW. That's 1-909-547-7469. Visit the online LHS merchandise store at shop.lhspodcast.info for fun and fashionable show-themed merchandise. Become an ambassador and represent LHS at a local Linux convention or Hamfest. Email ambassadors@lhspodcast.info for more information or visit the homepage for details. Until next time, remember to always heed your hedonism. Linux in the Ham Shack and the Linux in the Ham Shack logo are released under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives 4.0 International License.